We had the labor market reports this week, and honestly, not too many surprises. The unemployment rate came in at 4.3%, which is exactly where it was previously. So, not a huge change there. If you go look at initial claims, they also remain relatively low. Layoffs remain relatively low. Still supporting the idea that we're not yet in a recession. Um, this is a very long process, but the point is until initial claims are printing 300K, I don't really see this as recession territory. I will say though, going into the summer is when claims start to pick back up. Okay, if you look at 2023, you can see claims went up into the summer, like June of 2023. So I wouldn't be that surprised to see initial claims start to rise from here, especially after getting that sharp low that we just got. So all in all, the labor market, while there's weakness in some areas, there's still strength in others. So if you look at layoffs, I think they picked up a little bit this past month, but they still remain relatively low. Right? They still remain relatively low. Kind of like pre-pandemic levels, if you will. Initial claims low, layoffs low, job openings remain low. So there's some weakness. But for now, I think you look at the labor market and you say, look, until you see lower asset prices, you're unlikely to roll over into a recession. And while there is weakness in parts of the labor market, it is not yet widespread enough for it to sort of trigger those recessionary warnings. Historically, as you go into the summer, that's when initial claims start to pick up. So my guess would be that you'll see initial claims start to pick up, and that might be reflected in the unemployment rate as we get later on in the summer. And I do think you'll have sort of like another correction in the stock market later this year that will likely culminate in sort of the late Q3, early Q4 period, maybe even later Q4, where that's what kind of corresponds to that Bitcoin drop into the back half of the year, which is how it typically plays out. But hopefully this has been useful to you guys. And then that basically wraps up, I think, our discussion here of the labor market.